When installing software, it's almost never the case that users will go to this control panel and click the install button, but they generally will uninstall software using this list right here. And so if you've installed some sort of software using an INF file, you want to be able to have a very obvious way for the user to be able to uninstall their program, either through an uninstaller executable or through a listing in here. And it's actually quite simple to add a listing here, so let's go ahead and add some registry lines. So underneath the section default install, we'll add another directive for adding registry lines, which is going to be uninst.reg. So uninst.reg is our new section we're going to be working with, and let's go ahead and create another shorthand string called uninstall, which is going to be located under software, Microsoft, Windows, current version, uninstall. As you might be able to guess, there is a lot of different set of functions that are carried out underneath this current version key. Again, located under HKey local machine, and we're going to type in our shorthand label, and underneath that we're going to create a new key, which in our case we'll just call it myINF. You can call it whatever you want the short name of your software component to be. And make sure that it doesn't conflict with anything else. So we're going to create a new string value with a name of display name. This is what the user is going to be able to see in this list right here. And let's call this a very good program. HKLM again, uninstall, same key you defined before, and the uninstall string is basically the executable program which is going to carry out your uninstallation procedure. So when the user goes to click add remove on one of these listings, this is what's going to go ahead and delete the program. So uninstall string in our case should be something quite much like what we had previously put in here. Run dll.exe, setupx.dll, install him section, commence deletion, the section that we use for uninstalling a whole bunch of things. In fact, I'll go ahead and add a delreg directive right here, which points to the exact same addreg directive, so that these listings that we're going to create right here will be deleted. So, okay, and we got our reboot flag and the path to the INF file. Although having an INF file is relatively inconvenient if you're going to be putting it on the desktop, so what we can also do here is add another copy files directive. We'll just call this the INF. Put the same here, and underneath source files put test.inf. You'll notice that I don't add a listing for source disks files here. You can if you want to, but I'm pretty sure the setup engine will always know that this file exists and where to copy it from, since it is the one that is being executed. And you know, you may not want to have the INF file deleted from the set the destination. Let's remember that. Use LDID value 17 to point to Windows INF. Because there might be some instances, such as if you're trying to integrate optional components, you may want to leave the INF file in here for external software, such as those which ought to pop up in here. You can get away with deleting the INF files, but for this kind of stuff, which I'll get to in another segment later on, you may not want to delete the INF file because it's going to need to know exactly. It always depends on the existence of INF files for Outlook Express and system tools in order to be able to know what to do when the user goes to check back or uncheck any sorts of components. So in our case, we will have it deleted upon uninstallation, and we're going to type in the command line run dll.exe setup.dll install inf section commence deletion 132. Ask the user if he wants to reboot in case it's necessary, and we're going to go ahead and type the path to this INF file, which is going to be LDID value 17, which is probably going to be C Windows INF, and it's going to point to the INF file that we're trying to work with, and this will be responsible for deleting our software program. So let's go ahead and install it. As you can see, we got our new long file names, start menu links from before, and we have a copy of test INF in our Windows INF directory. Let's go ahead and see what happened here. Now we have a very good program listed here. And so rather than using this shortcut that I've created before, we can now use this control panel to go ahead and uninstall the program. So let's see what happens when I click here. The files vanish. My copy of the INF vanishes as well. Start menu links are gone. And that's it. The program has been uninstalled using the control panel. Now, for larger programs, you might want to have like a confirmation. Are you sure you want to uninstall this program? But you know, it's not necessarily a big deal. And usually, if the user is going to be going in here, they're probably going to know what they're doing. But in any case, we can go ahead and install this back. What? Okay, this is a strange little thing here. If you have the add remove programs window open, it seems to think that I'm still pointing to like the INF directory all the time. This is a strange little bug here. Yeah, Windows 9X is pretty quirky, but You know what you're doing, you can handle it. So that's really all there is to adding, our sorts of program listings for installing and uninstalling them. So in any case, that'll be all for now. I've got to work on Windows 95 D Lite again, but I'll get back with you when I can.